All right, hello YouTube. We're on live on the video.
Hola.
Good evening, everybody. We're going to go live here in just a moment. You all set?
Good to go.
Talk show. Recorded live.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode number 3 of D&D Sports Chat, coming to you live from the studio here in Garden City, Michigan. I am your host, Derek Partin, alongside my co-host for tonight, as always, Mr. Dan Bartley. Dan, how we doing?
Doing well. How about you?
Doing pretty good. I know as every week, we've been doing this for, I think, even doing the old wrestling show, and we always tell a little bit of a story, before we go live or when we actually do go live. And I guess you had a little bit of an interesting experience at CVS today. Why don't you touch on that?
Going to pick up a few things, pick up some deodorant, pick up some milk, toothpaste, all the good stuff that you need.
All the essentials.
All the essentials that you need for life. And walking around there with my mom, and she took out a display case. Walked right into the display case. It's quite humorous.
And what was on that display case?
I couldn't tell you. I hurry up and grabbed the milk.
Yeah, you act like you didn't know her, huh?
Yeah, kind of.
It's been a while since I've been inside of a CVS. I usually go to Walgreens. They close.
CVS had my deodorant on special, so I had to stock up.
Ah, gotcha. How many did you get? What was it on sale for?
Like $2.99.
Picked up a couple?
Picked up a couple.
There you go. Gotta have those essential bathroom, toiletry
You have
items.
a couple extra bucks, too. You have like $5 extra bucks, so you basically got like a deodorant or two for free. Mm-hmm. So more bonus points. Can't beat that.
Can't beat that at all.
And when you're going to the gym and you're a fluffy guy like myself, you need deodorant.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, a little bit of deodorant, maybe a little touch of body spray for added effect. You definitely, in case of a attractive girl were to work out next to you, you don't want to be giving out that nasty stank odor.
Yeah.
P.U.
That stank. Yeah,
that stank. You want to enter? Yeah, what am I saying? Do you want to start off the show with our RedWings segment brought to you by who?
Detroit Red Wings segment presented by J&J Taxes and More for D&D Sports Chat listeners only. 1040 Easy Form, Federal and State, only $40. Be sure to mention D&D Sports Chat for this special deal. Weekend appointments are available. You must mention D&D Sports Chat for this special exclusive offer.
Special offer. Get your taxes done. Tax season is among us, folks. You only have about another month or so to get your taxes in on time, so definitely go and see Mr. Joe Bartley at J&J Taxes and More, located on Ford and Middlebelt here in Garden City. So the Red Wings tonight, they are in a heated Wednesday night rivalry. Tonight's a big Wednesday night rivalry night against the pesky Chicago Blackhawks, who the Red Wings seem to always have great games against. Mm-hmm. Very pivotal game as far as this is a home-and-home series. The Red Wings, have now ridden on a 3-game winning streak. They're looking good. Obviously, Peter Mrazek did not start the last game against Dallas. Had a slight little groin injury, but a great fill-in by Jimmy Howard to finally get his first win of 2016. Looked very, very sharp, made 39 saves. The Red Wings definitely, I think, outplayed. Defensively, I think they outplayed Dallas. Offensively, they obviously had more shots than Detroit, but they hung right in there with them. Tonight, though, whole different story, in my opinion. What do you think?
Well, you're playing two of the best offensive teams in hockey, with the Dallas Stars being number one, with the juggernaut offense they have, and now they added Chris Russell, so maybe they can have some defensive prowess to help them out a little bit there. Because obviously, if you look at their power play, and the Wings got to look at it. Thankfully, the Wings were able to contain Ben and Sagan for the majority of the game.
Yep.
And they got that win. Jimmy Howard stood on his head.
They gritted it out, definitely.
Well. You gritted out a good win, and you beat a Dallas team who's very, very dominant and who had a lot of chances to score. And Jimmy Howard played well, and the defense for a whole played pretty well against a very stellar offensive team in the Dallas Stars.
I agree, and I think that questions have been arising today. Of course, Peter Mrazek expected to play tonight, get the start. over Jimmy Howard, and despite obviously the monstrous game from Jimmy Howard, and there was a lot of, I guess, agreeing to disagree that they should roll with Mrazek because this is a home and home series. But after tonight, they do get a 3-day rest, technically 4 days off. They don't play again until Sunday. Would it have been smart to possibly rest Mrazek, get him that extra day's rest, and roll with your hot hand, which is Jimmy Howard?
But don't you want to see how Mrazek can fare against one of the top teams in hockey? Very difficult opponent, and you want to throw your best in there.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You want to have Mrazek in there, but also to an extent is you want to make sure that groin's 100%. You want to have Mrazek healthy for the next 19 games, I believe the Rings have coming up. And you're going to see Chicago Sunday as well.
Yeah.
So pick your poison. You want to throw Mrazek in there, you want to pick Howard in there. It doesn't really matter with a team like Chicago. They're gonna get tons of shots. Well, whoever's in net tonight and also Sunday is gonna have to stand on his head. The Wings defense is gonna have to really stand up and put the body on Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves. The list goes on, and then the new addition of Andrew Ladd, who's playing with Jonathan Taves, I do believe.
Christian Ehrhoff as well.
They just continue to add guys at the deadline.
And still stay under the salary cap. I don't know how they do it. It's crazy the contracts that this team has, but they're still managed to be well under the salary cap. And it's amazing what they do. This is a team that
Give the Bowmans credit.
Yeah, I will definitely give the Bowmans credit on this one. And this is a team that has been built for the future for years. I mean, this is a team that didn't compete 10 years ago. They were always kind of lackluster, making the playoffs, early round exits. They didn't have the team of depth that they have now. And they've kind of become the new franchise, like the Detroit Red Wings of the 90s is what I kind of compared this team to.
You don't want to use that D word.
Yeah.
Quite yet,
Dynasty, they were close to it. I know in 2010 they were really looking strong, and, they've won, 3 cups in the last 5 years. I mean, they're still a major force to be reckoned with and a huge favorite each year and that passes by. And I just don't see this team slowing down. But you got to think, too, that when the contract time comes, who are you going to lock up? Because, I mean, we've seen this kind of happen with teams like Pittsburgh, for instance, where you have these huge deals and you have to, when contract deadlines come up and guys start moving, you got to kind of decide who you're going to retain, who you're going to let go. And this is kind of like going to be the situation for the Blackhawks in the next couple of years. But they're not slowing down anytime soon.
Even if Marian Hossa does decide to go elsewhere, you have Kane and Taves locked up. They locked them up a year or so ago. They're the future.
Oh, absolutely.
They're the core. You can continue to build around them. You got Panarin coming over from wherever he came from. I think he's 24 years old. A remarkable talent. You put him with Kane, and instantly he's, right now, in my opinion, the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. Remarkable talent, plays with Kane. That might have a lot to do with it, as Kane is having a just blockbuster season, running away with the
But
race.
that just makes it even more impressive when you got a guy like Kane that's scoring, as much goals as he is and leading the league in points, but you still got a guy that's playing with him, amassing just as many points that could steal Rookie of the Year. That's insane. I mean, this just tells you how special this team is. And even with tonight, they're going to be without Marian Hossa, lower body injury. This team is still stacked with power, and it's terrifying.
They got better at the deadline, acquiring Ladd.
They made the biggest splash. I mean, that can be argued, but I think they made the biggest splashes for their team at the trade deadline. The Red Wings, we saw that coming, that they weren't going to make any moves. The Jakob Kindl deal was pretty much all that they did with Florida, and I still think Florida won that deal. So, I think that right now it's all about Holland and Blashill kind of just rolling with what they have. And they have a lot of confidence backing this team. They're young. They're a core group that they want to keep together in the long haul. They're a team that's built for the future. They're not, like I've said this before, they're not built for shortcomings. They're forthcoming for the future. And that's exactly what Holland believes in. And he hasn't made many splashes at trade deadlines lately. So,
with the salary cap era, it's difficult to go out there and make a huge move. And credit to the Chicago Blackhawks organization for able to do that. It seems like year in and year out, getting that final piece to the Stanley Cup run. And this is, I've had a lot of time and thought into this. I wanted the Wings to make a deal, but then when you sit down and you put it in realistic perspectives, Detroit's not a guy away from making a huge cup run. They're at 2 or 3 player acquisitions
power
away.
Power goal scorer, veteran defense aspect, at least a couple guys on offense, because you got to figure is guys like, Datsuk and Zetterberg retiring in probably another 2 or 3 years. We'll see as course health-wise goes. But, I mean, do you got to rely on guys like Nyquist and Tatar that have kind of slowed down a little bit this year? Their numbers obviously are not what they've been the last couple years. And with the addition of Dylan Larkin, I'm sure that has a little bit to do with it, and the jumbling of lines and such. But I still think that they need that power forward goal scorer that can get you 30 to 40 goals a season. That's just what this team has lacked since Marian Hossa.
And that's the thing that I wanted the Wings to go out and acquire. Unfortunately, when you really sit down and you think about it, Andrew Ladd would have been a great acquisition for them to make. They're going to have to give up a boatload. You're going to have to give up.
But we have the draft picks to give up.
But the thing is he's going to be a rental player more than likely. So you want to give up. You want to sell the future. And I made the argument as well is the Wings have the best farm system in all of hockey.
Yep.
You can do
Hands
that.
down.
But the thing is the Wings aren't getting past the first round. In my opinion, if you draw Washington, and if you draw, like, besides Washington, the East is wide open. And that is what makes me want the Wings to go out and make some sort of deal, and they didn't, is because the East is still very wide open.
Especially their division, especially the Atlantic Division. And I think that's why, like, I don't know, like, as far as the Wings exit this year, it could be first round, second round, who knows? They could even, depending on seeding wise, because it's so close to the Atlantic, they could, right now they're currently the 7th seed in the conference. They could go as high up as 4th, where Florida is. They're only 4 points behind Florida. So the way I look at it is that this team, if they get a lower pick in the playoffs, they could possibly make it to the second round. I honestly can say that the Red Wings this year, if they make a decent run the last week or so of the season, rack up some wins, get some overtime losses, whatever points they can accumulate, I can see them making it to the second round.
Depending on opponent, if I was going to choose right now, I would really want to obviously stay away from the Washington Capitals because that's just a nail in the coffin. Get your golf clubs out, first round game. If you're going to play a team, I would not mind playing the Florida Panthers. As weird as that sounds, is Florida has a very
They have our
young,
number. They have our number.
They do have our number, but they have a lot of young guys and they have a lot of talent. But they've never been there before. Besides Roberto Luongo, besides Yager, Aaron Agblad, Vincent Trocheck, the names they're very good, talented guys, but they've never been to the big dance. So the inexperience is going to be there. The jitterbugs are going to be there for that team. So if you're going to want to face a team that maybe has your number in the regular season, it would be them. It would be the Florida Panthers because that is a team that I see the Wings could beat in the first round.
I see that also as well. As far as a best-of-7 series, I mean, if it was down to a best-of-5, I'd say that maybe Florida would have more of a legit chance of knocking us out. But I'm looking at a team like the New York Islanders. I think the New York Islanders is a team that's young. They're not in this position very often. Jonathan Taves is, I'm sorry, not Jonathan Taves, but John Tavares has done wonders for that team, and they're a young core group as well. But I think that's a team that we could probably take out in the first round. Tampa Bay, I'm sure a lot of Wings fans would love to see Tampa Bay get that revenge from last season. But I guess you could say outside of the Islanders, if the playoffs were to start, say in another week or so, the chances of us playing a division rival is very, very high.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I mean, you got basically Florida, Tampa Bay, or Boston that's going to probably end up being. And then you can throw the Islanders in there as well. But it all depends if we got to leapfrog Tampa Bay and Boston. That's our key. So we have, I think, the ability to do it as far as, being able to get over that extra hump and have that extra aggressiveness come playoff time, play another month of hard-nosed hockey and get some wins, grit out some wins, whether they be in overtime or regulation. We could climb in the standings a little bit. That's how close it is in the East. Now, good thing we're not in the West. It's a great thing we're not in the West.
It's a roller coaster right now. The West is more where you want to avoid. You
got your 3 top teams in the West, Chicago, Dallas, and St. Louis, that you definitely want to avoid there. But in the East, really, the main powerhouse is Washington. Everything else is wide open.
Like usually Pittsburgh is in that category.
Not
Pittsburgh's not there.
Montreal. Since Carey Price went down, my God.
But see, it shows how it's funny how saying one player is
goaltending.
bad.
Yep.
Montreal's not.
We're talking about a
Vezina
elite goaltender here that can just totally, kind of disrupt the combination that you have. And as far as racking up wins, with Carey Price out, it's just totally derailed that team. And
it has.
It's unfortunate to see.
They,
I mean,
they traded away a couple pieces.
Yeah.
They're full sell. They sold Dale Weiss, Thomas Fleischman, got some picks back, got another young talent back. They'll be back in it next year, though.
Oh yeah,
that's a team that is not going to go anywhere when Carey Price gets back. But the team that really is different this year from numerous years with the salary cap and free agency and everybody that's gone is the Boston Bruins.
Yes.
Boston's a team that was very tough to play for Detroit because Detroit is all about finesse. And Boston used to be the tough, I'm going to smash your face.
Well, they lost Milan Lucic.
You lose Lucic, and then it just continues to downfall. You continue to lose more and more talent. Krejci hasn't been healthy all year. Bergeron hasn't been healthy. Marchand is having probably one of his best seasons of hockey. I think he's got upwards into the 30-goal region.
It's just not enough, really. I mean, they're in playoff contention, no doubt, but they're just, compared to what they've been the last 4 or 5 years, they're just not
And their
hitting
defense is really slowed down.
Yes.
Zdeno Chara is up there in age. Tuukka Rask
is having a mediocre season.
Inconsistent.
Yep.
So that's a team that you wouldn't mind playing either. It's not the typical Boston Bruins of old that you fear.
That we're up there, that we're up there going for Stanley Cups, pretty much every year, right up there with Chicago.
So besides Washington, that's really Detroit has a good opportunity to
go deep
into this playoff berth if they're capable of playing up to their potential
and picking the right
Dylan
opponents.
Larkin Dylan Larkins is a key factor. Peter Mrazek is a key factor, and two other guys that I'm going to mention: Brad Richards and Tomas Tatar need to have effective runs. Brad Richards, the veteran presence, needs to play up to his capabilities, and Nyquist and Tatar have to be more consistent. They can't be invisible come playoff time. They're little guys. They're going to get pushed around. They got to find a way.
Nyquist has been essentially invisible. His numbers, I mean, it's shocking to see that he's got 14 or 15 goals because it's hard to believe that because you hardly ever see him. It all happened earlier in the season is when he racked up those points. Same with Tatar. But still, if these guys like Brad Richards is a guy that, as far as offensive goal scoring is concerned, he's not playing up to his full potential, but he's still making very good plays. He's a playmaker.
He won the big game, the Stadium Series game.
Yeah, he did.
So
he's kind of hiding in the wings, so to speak. No pun intended there, but he's kind of, biding his own time and doing what he has to do to set up goals for other young talent. And so I think that that pickup of Brad Richards, I think, has paid off. As far as Mike Green, not as good as probably the Brad Richards deal. Mike Green, of course, has dealt with some injuries this year and very less playing time, but our whole defense is struggling as a core itself. But I mean, I got to give Brad Richards his due for his age, an older vet, but he's given us that presence and he's keeping us in games to compete. So, and as far as a live update goes, it's already 1-0 Chicago. Seabrook with the goal. So
no surprise.
We're not even a handful of minutes in. It's already 1-0. So we know who came out the gate scoring quickly. We actually have a guest on the phone right now, a Michigan guest. Who's this?
Pardon me?
Pete Spivak. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing well, my friend. You asked me to call in. What's going on tonight?
Yeah, I just want to get your take on the trade deadline for hockey for the Detroit Red Wings.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have never seen a better trade deadline move than not making any moves. I think the Red Wings are just fine the way that they stand right now. I do understand that scoring is lacking, but I think that the point has been made. Actually, the point was made early last year when Mike Babcock stayed on for one more year and the Wings signed Jeff Blashill to a one-year deal. That told me right then and there that the Red Wings were going to be standing pat with the farm system, which has been groomed since the last 5 years. The team that you see playing for the Red Wings right now, aside from Pavel and Henrik Zetterberg, about 70% of those guys, 75% of those guys came up through the farm system. The Wings made the point last year, so I expected nothing at the trade deadline. I was hoping for nothing at the trade deadline, and thank God we got nothing at the trade deadline. The team is fine the way they are. The problem is defense. All the pressure right now is on Danny DeKeyser and Nick Cronwall. The only problem is Nick Cronwall is going to end up spending most of the time in the penalty box with all the the Cronwalling that goes on the ice. Mm-hmm. So the Red Wings have obviously made the point that they have lots of confidence in Kyle Quincy and Alexei Marchenko, because those are the guys that are going to have to step up their game if the Wings want to get out of the first round in the playoffs. And that's honestly where it stands right now. And Peter Mrazek has to stay healthy. Even a slight groin injury, guys, that's for any goaltender, a slight groin injury is not something to just be like, he'll be fine. He can re-aggravate that at any point in time. Keep an eye out on that.
That's my biggest concern, too, is you're going against Chicago. Obviously, he's going to be facing a boatload of shots tonight and also Sunday. Now, we were talking earlier, I want to get your take on this, is what team do you want to play in the first round? Obviously, you want to avoid the Washington Capitals. What team would you like to play? Would you want to play the inexperienced Florida Panthers? Would you want to be New York Islanders? What team suits the Wings best for a first round?
Well, I know this is going to sound a little bit elitist, but I think the team should be fearing the Red Wings. I think I think the teams don't want to play the Red Wings. I think that any team that the Red Wings play, they have a legitimate chance to beat. If you watch the NHL playoffs, specifically in the last 5, 6, 7 years, it seems like even the first round series goes 6, 7 games. Mm-hmm. So I think that the Red Wings, honestly, I'm not worried about who the Red Wings face. I think that the opponent should be worried about facing the Red Wings, especially with these guys have been playing, like I mentioned earlier, these guys have been coming up in the minor league system. They've been playing with each other for the last 5 years. They know each other's breath out there on the ice. You should be freaking out about playing the Red Wings. I think the Red Wings have a better chance of getting out of the first round than people think.
Yeah, Pete, really good points there. By the way, I've never met you before. Danny just talked about you. I'm Derek, by the way. Nice to meet you. I'm glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
As far as the Red Wings go, I know that you were touching on defense and guys like Marchenko and Quincy, guys having to really step up there. But what about the return of Brendan Smith? I know that he's kind of been our shining light on defense this year, and it's kind of weird to say that. His numbers are probably not up there, but he's really provided a physical presence on the back end on defense this year. What do you think about him as far as being a top seed on defense and helping us kind of get over a first-round exit early?
Well, I think he's definitely going to be one of the key defensemen, as I mentioned. Quincy and Marchenko. I mean, it's going to have to come down to Brendan Smith when Cronwall is sitting in the penalty box, and that's going to happen. So you're basically already going to be down a defenseman going into the game. I mean, you have to. I mean, because Cronwall gets into the box, it just happens. I mean, he makes the big hits. So, Jonathan Ericsson, number 52 has just got to, sort of step up his game. He's been lacking, but I think that Smith coming back is definitely going to help the defense. They definitely need him out there. They need his physicality out there. They definitely need that help. I think the Wings can get past the first round if the physicality on the blue line is there, regardless of that sharpshooter, which is missing from the Red Wings roster. I think the defense, the key for the Red Wings to win the first round is the defense playing as physical as possible, and Brendan Smith, to your point, will definitely help it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, too, as far as physicality is concerned, you got to look at a guy like Cronwall, and we all see what happened last year against Tampa Bay, and I think he's a guy that's really walking on eggshells heading into the playoffs because it's almost like how much of a leash are they going to let him go as far as physicality is concerned, because he does have to definitely tone down his game, and that kind of, I guess you can say that kind of hinders our defense as far as moving forward and trying to go out there and really be aggressive. So what kind of an aggressive scale would you give Cronwall as far as how much leeway to go out there and be aggressive?
Well, he's got to be a 10. He's got to go out there and make sure that he gets in the penalty box because he's going to be the intimidator on the D line. Mm-hmm. I expect him to be in the box. I expect the Wings to be on the penalty kill. So, basically my whole point is that your penalty kill is going to be your key. It absolutely has to, aside from the goaltending, which has already proved itself, and I think Jimmy Howard might be coming out of the doldrums, whatever sort of depression that he was in. It seemed like in the last year he was too worried about the artwork on his mask than he was about his weight between the pipes. But the thing is that, the defense is going to win any series for the Red Wings. It's already been proven. Look at all the one-goal games the Red Wings have played in the regular season. That's going to get worse as it comes to playoff time. So it's all going to come down to hitting people on the blue line, taking them off the puck, checking them. That's where Brendan Smith comes in. That's where definitely Nick Cronwall comes in. And Jonathan Ericsson has to do the exact same thing. Danny DeKeyser, I think he studies the number 5 playbook. And what I mean by the number 5 playbook, that'd be Nick Lidstrom's playbook. Yeah, absolutely. Danny DeKeyser is really trying to take a page out of that playbook. Those guys are key, man. Marchenko and Quincy will win you the series if Ericsson and DeKeyser, Cronwall, and Smith do their job.
Now, one more before we let you go here. I got a big question that a lot of people have been asking me on Twitter, on Facebook. How do you fix this power play? The power play for the Wings has been very lackluster, It's just not there. And when you watch a team like tonight with a Chicago and a Dallas, obviously the Wings don't have Patrick Kane or Tyler Seguin,
Amazing
but the Wings
power
still
play.
have a lot of talent. And it seems like this power play has just been very nonchalant. You can't seem to get anything.
Too much setting up.
I
You just
think
need to
that-
shoot the puck.
I think this team tries to get too cute. Is
Yes.
that what it is, or is this something I'm missing?
Well, Derek and Dan, I think you guys are onto something. I think that the cuteness it might be a little too much. I think what Blashill is having a problem of right now is line combinations. I think you'll start to see more jumbling of the lines, especially when it comes to the power play to help produce goals. I think you'll start to see more and more of Andreas Athanasiou
Double A.
and for the love of God, Dylan Larkin.
Dylan
For the love
Larkin.
of God. You see 72 and 71
Flash.
Yeah, the
out there
Flash.
on the ice during the power play. I mean, that'll be a lot of fun in itself. I think one of the keys for the power play, honestly, to be successful, Gustav Nyquist, where are you? If you can come out of the shadows and play a good, solid center on the power play, which he's been on the power play for, a lot of the regular season. So if he can get out of his stuff, Gustav Nyquist, you got to remember, I mean, this is a guy who was scoring goals in the AHL. Where are you, buddy? I know you got the talent. Bring it up. He's the key to getting your power play going. And, again, jumble the lines, mix them up, roll the dice. I think that's what Blashill will do, and you'll start to see, like, Datsuk and Athanasiou out there on the ice together. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playoff time, and hopefully, the guy that you touched on, Nyquist, gets his act together. He's very inconsistent.
Nyquist and Larkin right now both need to get out of their funks. And I think that it's the right line pairings, obviously. And it all starts, I think, too, on the power play. These are guys that can be super dangerous on the power play, and that's where a lot of guys can rack up their goals and get out of funks. And it's all about, like you said, Danny, attested to, being too cute. And I think that this is a team that has been a little bit too cute on the power play with too much setting up and just shooting the puck at the net, getting quality shots on net, and getting the right guy in front of the net is going to get you goals. And potentially in the case of guys like Nyquist and Dylan Larkin, it'll probably end your funk. So,
Pete, thanks for joining us. I heard your update today on the way here, actually, to the studio, 106.7 The D. It was pretty phenomenal. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And good job with that today.
I appreciate you listening, buddy. You guys can catch me doing my afternoon sports updates on 106.7 The D, as I like to call it, and 11:30 WCFN The Fan. Yes, it's still on the air. I do sports updates during the afternoon drive home, so if people can tune in the Detroit area, they'll get a in-depth sports update for as much time allows.
Well, awesome, Pete. Thanks for joining us, taking the time out of your day.
Anytime, Dan. Anytime, man. Just ask me anytime. And just by the way, before I go, guys, real quick, Kirk Cousins signed his tender tag. He's going to be making $19 million next year.
wow. Whoop-de-doo.
Wow.
Yeah, it was breaking news about shortly
Nice.
before 8 o'clock, so I want to let you guys know.
All right.
Hey,
Sounds
thanks
good.
again, Pete. It's nice talking to you, and you're welcome on the show anytime you want. Thanks a lot for coming on.
And Derek, thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You too.
And just as we lose Pete on the phone, we got actually another caller. We got Mr. Chris Nickel on the line. Hey, Chris, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. Watching that live Red Wing game. Is it still 1-0 Hawks?
Where's my Kurt Angle music?
Oh, my God.
Nothing's more patriotic.
All right, so now that we got that out of the way, what do you got to touch on for the Red Wings tonight?
Not much. I just wanted to touch on, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the World Cup of Hockey at all.
Oh, yeah.
But they
Oh, yeah.
announced the rosters today.
Yep.
Just wanted to know what you guys thought about all that.
Well, obviously, Patrick Kane's going to be your formidable Team USA captain. Dylan Larkin's on that squad.
Seven Red Wings, I believe.
Justin
are-
Abelkader's on
yeah.
Team USA. Obviously, the
Yeah,
team
Larkin's on the North America team, which is 23 and under.
Yes.
23 and under.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was quite a big fan of their jerseys. I know that you were tweeting about it earlier today on Twitter about the design of them. I don't know. I mean, I don't hate them, but I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the design.
Yeah, when I previously saw a picture, it was like grainy, so
Yeah.
it didn't look that well. But after I saw I think it was NHL.com was showing like 360 views of them, they kind of gave like a better look of what they looked like, and I thought they were pretty nice.
See, now I have not seen the jerseys, so I'm kind of in the dark on this one, but I'm more excited about the World Cup of Hockey as a whole.
Yeah.
I love the whole best players on the ice for their respective countries or the North American squad. Now, 23 and under, is that all an American team, or is that, say, Connor McDavid, Jack Eichel, Dylan Larkin all on one squad?
Well, that's exactly what you're talking about. Connor McDavid, Jack Eichel, everyone that's 23 and under from Canada and North America, they're all going to be on there, which the team name's called Team North America.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I really agree with that kind of name for something like that, but
Yeah, I don't really care for that.
yeah, neither do I. Trying to find the rosters
I got it right here for
for that team.
Yeah, Team
Yeah.
North America. I know the goaltenders, they got John Gibson, Connor Hellebuck, and Matt Murray. The fence, they got, as you said, Eric Ekblad, Seth Jones, Ryan Murray, Morgan Riley. In the forward so far, they got Sean Coutier, Jack Eichel, Johnny Gaudreau, Dylan Larkin, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, JT Miller, Sean Moynihan, and Brandon Saad. So
Well, that's pretty good.
that's pretty jacked up lineup for the
Wow.
North American team.
Honestly, I think their lineup is, I don't know, dare I say, almost better than like Team USA.
Team USA.
It is better than Team USA.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not really that impressed by Team USA's. I mean, they have Justin Applicator.
Yeah.
Yeah. We kind of
Exactly.
I
chuckled at
really
that
don't
one, yeah.
see him as a forward on our team, I guess. I don't know, he's not that threatening.
I wasn't too impressed with Ryan Kessler on the team either. I mean,
Ryan Kessler is
he's
better than Justin Applicator
Yeah.
to his respect. Now, Derek, I know you got the rosters up there. Can you pull up Team USA's roster and
Yep.
feed me that?
goaltenders Ben Bishop, Jonathan Quick, and Corey Schneider.
Not
Defensemen
bad.
Dustin Bufflin, John Carlson, Ryan McDonough, and Ryan Suter. And the forwards, of course, Justin Advocator, Patrick Kane, Ryan Kessler, TJ Oshie, Max Pacioretty, Zach Parise, Joe Pavelski, Derek Stepan, and Blake Wheeler.
Average.
Sorry?
But yeah, I agree. I think I think North America's team is a little bit better than Team USA, if not on par with theirs. So I think goaltending is probably a little bit more in USA's favor. But John Gibson, I wouldn't want to overlook him.
No,
he's
you
a
don't want to
very,
overlook
very,
Gibson.
yeah, very good young talent. So
And I don't know, I think John Gibson's a pretty good goalie for Anaheim, too.
And Anaheim's really on a surge since the All-Star break as well.
I know, Chris, when we were talking to Pete about, the trade deadline, I know that we had talked before about, not being too surprised the Wings didn't make any moves. And I know that me and you are on the same page as far as the Red Wings not wanting to make moves just to make moves and to compete right now. I know that we're a team that's built for the future. Was there any guys out there without having to give up too much and to stay under the salary cap that you would have liked to see the Red Wings go after, or are you content with what we left alone?
I mean, the only guy that I wanted us to get, but he was already snagged up, excuse me, a couple weeks ago was Dustin Bufflin.
Yes.
I don't know if he was really, in the picture to say anyways, but Winnipeg locked him up, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Other than that, there was absolutely no one I wanted to get either. I mean, I agree with Pete and what both you guys have been saying just about everyone in our farm system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I touched on that the first time I called that. I think it was Danny mentioning Shattenkirk and someone else trading for, wasn't it?
Scott Hartnell.
Scott Hartnell, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think highly of everyone in our farm system, and I think they could easily take our roles. I mean, I watched a video of Howland talking about the moves that the Red Wings were wanting to make, and he said he wanted to make some moves, but really this is it's a young core of team going forward. So all the negatives and the mishaps that you see of the Wings, this is a team that's trying to find their way. Every single time that they're playing, every single night, they're going to make mistakes, but they're a young team that's only going to continue to grow, and I can only see us just going upwards from here, honestly.
Who would you? I know we were asking Pete this. I know we both kind of were touching on who the Red Wings best opponent choice would be for the first round is to avoid an early first-round exit, which we've seen over the last few years. Who would be your ideal opponent to kind of have a chance to get past the first round?
I'm not sure if I was listening to you guys because I tuned in prior before, obviously, you guys started. I noticed Danny was talking about Florida. I'm not sure if that would have made it on the air with you guys or not. I would actually be scared of facing them. I mean,
I mentioned they have our number.
Mentioned them, Danny or you mentioned them being not that threatening of a team, and they have a lot of guys with playoff experience, a lot of guys that made it to the Cup, like Bolin, Mitchell, blanking on about a couple more guys. I mean, you got Yager there. I know they have a lot of young guys that are inexperienced, and that could come into play too, but I don't know. The playoffs, though, are kind of like a really, really tricky
It's all different
scenario because, like, I think it's different than all sports. It's like once you get in there, who really knows? Like,
we've seen 8
'Cause
seeds take down 1 seeds all the time.
Call me crazy. I honestly think with the past couple of times that we've played them, I would like to take on the best, and that's the Washington Capitals. I think we gave them a ride for their money the past 2 games that we played them. I attended one of them, and it was a pretty great game that we played them with. We stayed toe-to-toe with them. I mean, why not just go all in against them?
I think it would definitely be a worthwhile series. I don't think we would get swept by Washington. I think we could hang in there to take them at least 6 games. But this is a team Washington. Now hold on, Danny. This is a team Washington that has been the playoff jinx as of late. This is a team that just can never seem to get over that jinx. They've made it. Did they make it to the finals last year, conference finals? Or was
they lost to, I think, the Rangers, didn't they?
I think it was, yeah. I mean, they had a great – I mean, nobody really looked at them as being Stanley Cup contenders last year, and they made it, I think, further than anybody thought. Now, if you got them this year running away with it, they're going to hit 100 points probably by next week sometime, well before anybody else. And this is
Holtby's going to win close to 50 games.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we haven't seen that since, Martin Brodeur. So, I mean, you're looking at a guy like – this is a team that's definitely picked to win the Stanley Cup, but could it all just evaporate? I mean, if they end up facing – I don't think they're going to face the Red Wings. I think the Red Wings are going to finish a little higher up than where they are right now in the standings. But I'm kind of in the line with Chris is that, yeah, it would be a real good test for the Red Wings because look at 2013 when we got rid of who was it? The Anaheim Ducks. It was a 2-versus-7 situation, and we took down the Ducks in 7. We should have taken down the Hawks. But this
thing
team,
I'll give them is Barry Trotz. He's a really, really good coach. And what he's done with the Washington Capitals.
What a turnaround.
Yeah, it's a huge turnaround, and that's. I mean, I'm not saying they'll be a walk in the park beating the Capitals. I mean, I'm kind of scared of them at the same time too, but I think the Red Wings could take them, though. I mean,
you're saying take them and beat them in the first round.
I'm not that confident saying that we could beat them.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't that confident that the Red Wings could beat the Lightning either, but it's like when we played them last year, I mean, look how close the games were.
Yeah.
Everyone counting out the Red Wings.
The Lightning, and the Lightning had the depth over us, but we were just able to kind of grit out the close games and take it to 7. But, yeah.
I'll say this much. If you're going to go through the East, you're going to have to obviously beat Washington. It's going to happen. They're the team that everybody fears, and arguably so. They got a good coach. Their best player is playing Ovechkin-like. He's got some help, though.
Like we all know, I mean, just because you win the President's Trophy doesn't necessarily mean, you are the best team. With us Red Wing fans, you know that best,
Oh, yeah,
we
absolutely.
always got ousted. But I totally agree with what you're saying, though, too, Danny. Totally.
It's a team that you want to face because you might as well see if you can beat them early.
But if you don't want to stick to the same old song of being eliminated the first round, which the Red Wings have been accustomed to lately, there's other teams out there. If you're going to beat a team out of the first round, like a team like Florida or New York Islanders or Boston or such, you're going to probably end up facing Washington in the second round. So it's inevitable to face them. But as far as a first-round opponent, I don't know if I'd want to see them and get knocked out early. I think we could take them 6 games, but I don't know if we would be able to beat them.
Also, a little fun fact. Today is Zetterberg's 900th career game. Just wanted to
Oh, okay.
wow. Nice little milestone there.
Twitter, thought I'd mention that.
Well, because wasn't it Datsuk that just got his 900th career point not too long ago? So it kind of ties in with that. So
Yeah.
Zetterberg getting his 900th game. So, I mean, yeah, that's crazy. He, of course, started the year after Datsuk did. And, that 2 future Hall of Famers, no doubt in my mind. But, yeah, just crazy how time flies. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Well, I know that we've been touching on Red Wings here, and I know that there's a lot more to discuss. And as far as the Tigers go, I don't know if did you want to stay on the line for the Tiger talk here, Chris?
I'll probably let you guys go. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm going to continue listening. I wanted to touch on a few more other things, but I actually have a buttload of homework, so I just want to make sure I call in for sure just talk to you guys because I made a few promises the past couple of weeks and I never got around to get to you guys.
Yeah,
so.
we're definitely glad you made it on, and hopefully we see you in future weeks. Whenever you can make it on is always appreciated.
All right, well, take care, spike your hair, woo, woo, woo. You know it.
Ooh.
See you guys later.
See ya.
Have a good one, man. Kurt Angle theme song.
Gotta love it. All right, so tonight's Tigers segment obviously is presented by Garden City Community Chat. If you want to know everything about what is happening in the city of Garden City, please tune in live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. right here on TalkShoe.com/TC/82757 for Garden City Community Chat with your host, the one and only Chatman himself, my dad, Kerry Partin. Great show. You got fix the roads. We mentioned this last week. If Mayor Walker ever listens to our shows, please fix the roads in Garden City. They are well beyond repair. So
especially Marquette.
Yeah, Marquette, Craig. Some parts of Merriman. If you're out by the airport, you know what I'm talking about. So the Tigers today, they played two more exhibition games in the Grapefruit League. The game that we saw on TV was kind of, it was looking like it was going to go in the Tigers' favor, but out of nowhere,
Yankees win.
Yeah, Yankees pulled out in a slugfest 10-9. The upside of this game was, of course, the grand slam by Brian Holiday. That was nice to see.
Oh my goodness gracious!
And of course,
nice to see with the Toledo Mudhens.
Yep, Mike Pelfrey got the start for Tigers today. He pitched 3, perfect innings. He said it all 9 Yankees he faced, true to form. I guess he recorded five outs on grounders, which is usually Mike Pelfrey-esque, to go with a pair of fly balls and 2 strikeouts in his Tigers debut. So a good start. Obviously it's nothing to get jumping out of your seat about, but it is nice to see that.
Like I texted you, Holiday hits a grand slam. You're like, what?
Well, I heard that.
What?
Well, the way you worded it, you just put grand slam Holiday. I'm like, what are you talking about? Denny's or something? Like Denny's grand slam breakfast?
There is no such thing as Denny's anymore.
Yeah. Wait, they're all gone?
I think pretty sure all the Denny's are gone.
I thought they were still around. I didn't know they were just like in Michigan. I thought they closed a bunch in Michigan.
Gone. I don't.
Oh, I have to Wikipedia that one. I did not know that they all went bankrupt.
I don't know. Look that up.
Oh, that's a good fun fact to look up. Cameron Maben. He began his spring with a sore shoulder. He was limited to designated hitting duties. He took a fastball off the wrist.
In the hand, yeah.
Yep, got fastball off the wrist from Yankee starter Luis Severino. I guess it's like Severino, something like that in the second inning. That sent him to the ground, obviously in a lot of pain. Got up, took his base. He came around to score. He did not get taken out of the game, which is a good sign for him because this is a guy here that's probably going to be leading off in our team. I also added, aside from Holiday's grand slam, Jared Saltamacchia had a double in the 6th inning. Ian Kinsler had a solo shot. Steven Moya, who's a guy that I think a lot of Tigers fans should be kind of paying close attention to, is a good utility man, kind of like a Don Kelly-esque player. He had a 2-run blast. It totally took off the Tigers'
Mike
offensive
Aviles
attack.
is Don Kelly 2.0.
Mike Aviles, you think?
Mike Aviles can play every position but catcher and pitcher.
Yeah, we'll see how much playing time he gets, but I just know that Steven Moya has been a guy that the Tigers farm system has been keeping their eyes on as far as being on the main roster and being kind of like in a little bench role there. So that was the 10-9 game, and then of course the game that wasn't televised, they played the Pirates today and they beat them 10-3. So Jared Saltamacchia, he kept pace with Holiday. He collected a pair of hits, including a home run himself. Threw out Andrew McCutcheon. He tried to steal base. And
Jesus Harbaugh was coaching.
And how about
base.
Buck Farmer? Old Buck Farmer got the win in his spring train debut.
Who cares?
How about that? The Tigers now will head to Orlando to face the Atlanta Braves on Thursday.
How can you figure out Jesus Harbaugh coaching first base for the Tigers today?
Yeah, I saw that. Jim Harbaugh in his base coach debut, not too bad, winning his.
I wonder if how Major League Baseball felt about that. I know the Detroit.
It's spring training.
I know the
They're
Detroit
not gonna
Tigers.
frown on
I know
it.
the Tigers still had to get permission
Yeah.
to have him coach first base, and I'm sure the football world, the college football fanboys, are thrilled.
College football season's over right now. Why not? You might as well go on another
Their
venture.
spring practices are in Florida, though. What a great practice site!
I
Why
think
not,
it
why not
adds.
bring them here? You're practicing at the big house. It's cold. Let's see what kind of man you are. Why are you practicing in Florida?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe that was just kind of to get his feet wet and to dive into a different venture as far as coaching his first base team.
Test
I
the
wouldn't.
manhood of
I
those
wouldn't look
guys.
too far. I wouldn't look too far into it. But I mean, obviously, a lot of things have been going well for Michigan as far as who they've been picking up as far as scouting wise, and I mean, it was probably a day off for him as far as his recruiting trail goes. So, yeah, I mean, why not have a little bit of fun?
Yeah, why not?
So, I mean, as far as what you saw today, and, it's spring training, I know, but do you think the Tigers, kind of are off to a good start as far as, seeing the early power out of guys like Brian Holiday, guys that you wouldn't see? I mean, we didn't hear about guys like Miguel Cabrera or J.D. Martinez yet, or Victor Martinez or any of this, but the guys that you don't expect to have the power, it's a good sign. I mean, it's nothing, like I said, to get all excited about, but you like to see this often and early.
Later in spring training is where I start.
Yeah, give another month or so.
If I'm going to really put any kind of thought into spring training, it's not going to be the first week or so. I want, pitchers are eliminated 30 pitches, 2 innings max. They don't have nothing. They're all just fastball right down the middle, hope and pray that you can get out of the inning. There's not a whole lot going on for pitchers. Mm-hmm. So when these pitchers start establishing their rhythms, getting their arms, getting their velocity established, then you can kind of be a judge of, okay, who is really doing something for this Tigers organization? Who can potentially be here with this team come opening day against the Marlins?
Yeah.
That's what it all comes down to. I think a lot of the spots are already solidified.
I think so too.
Lot of them,
Except maybe a couple bullpen positions. I think
I think there might be 1 or 2. Casey
Yeah.
McGee, who played today in the game against the
Buck
Yankees.
Farmer.
Buck Farmer is a guy who could make the bullpen, but also would you, Buck Farmer or the flamethrower?
Right.
Who would you rather have?
I don't like having a flamethrower, but I mean, how long is it going to last as far
Fulmer
as...
can start in AAA.
Yeah.
We can all go down there and see him for the Toledo Mud Hens and pay $8 a ticket. That sounds
That's
peachy.
true, yeah.
But the Tigers have a lot of positions that are already pretty much solidified going in. The battle for center field between Ghost and Maben, I think, honestly, Osmus is going to be rotating that, pretending.
Kind of like what they did with Rajay last year.
It depends on who is pitching, lefty, righty, who's on the mound will start. Justin Upton struck out today pretty atrociously. But it's spring training.
That's
spring
getting
training,
the cobwebs are coming out, and I think that's – but we're going to see that as a very common trend this year. I mean, if Justin Upton could go out there and strike out under 100 times, it'd be a mass miracle. It's not going to happen. We're going to see 120, between 120 and 140 strikeouts from him. But if he can still hit upwards to 280 to 290, I'll be happy with that.
But it was great to just see baseball again. Like,
Yeah.
I know I texted you. Like, I was in that la-la land.
You were in that zone, and I was kind of shooting you down.
Sitting there, I was like, yeah, baseball season. Even though there's snow on the ground, it's freezing cold. You wouldn't think about grabbing your glove and playing catch, but it's still there. You're playing in sunny Florida. Baseball season's another month or two
Just
away.
think about this way. You got 75 and sunny in Florida. We're supposed to get that next week. We're supposed to hit 70 degrees by possibly next Thursday. Now, just let that sink in.
Is that confirmed by Doppler Tom?
That's not confirmed by Doppler Tom. That's confirmed by AccuWeather.
Well, then I don't trust it.
Yeah, Doppler Tom I think I would trust. If I have to get Doppler Tom's opinion on the show here, I might have to text him and find out what he thinks about next week's weather. But this whole weather, not to jump from Tigers to weather, but I know it's
goodness
just
gracious, never.
It has been crazy, as far as, and I think I posted something on the D&D page a couple days ago about Michiganders know the struggle of one day, of course, we're playing basketball on the blacktop. It's like 50 degrees, 60 degrees out, and then 2 days later, 3 inches of snow.
Getting ready to get your skis out.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what you're going to do. And I keep saying this to guys at work, like the damn tulips have got to be confused as hell. They don't know what to do. Go back, pop out, go back on the ground, whatever. But
Only you would think of the tulips,
I know.
Eric.
Well, I am a flower guy. Obviously it's what I was working around in for a few years, and I do know my bulbs. I know my annuals and perennials.
The garden center at Myers would be so proud.
Yeah, they would. And my mother, too. That green thumb.
You got it, all right.
But, yeah, I know I kind of shot you down earlier when we were talking about, with the cold weather here and the warm weather there. And I said to you that I'm not quite in baseball mode yet, and it's true because
You got a hockey season. You got 19 games, and then you're in the playoffs.
But it's weird when even when the Tigers were sucking, and when everybody was saying "Oh, I'm so ready for hockey to start," and I was still in baseball mode. It just happens. There's a certain point of year that your mind just tells you when you're ready for a certain sport to start up again: hockey, baseball, football, basketball, whatever it may be. That's how we all are, and especially when we're in Michigan, we have competitive teams. Well, not so much last year with the Tigers, but it's a whole new season, a whole new year, and we're going into this year with all new expectations.
There's very much hope in Tiger Town.
Yeah, put your hands together and pray for a good year, because I think we're going to see a more remarkable season from the Tigers. Not saying it's going to be a complete turnaround from last year, but I see a lot more success coming from this team this year, and we can only hope, right? Barring injuries.
Hope 2016. Bernie Sanders. Just kidding. Don't want to start that can of worms.
So that's Tiger talk. I know that, obviously not too much to touch on as far as that with the first couple of games of spring training start, but we will definitely have more in weeks to come as we get closer to opening day in just about another month or so. WWE talk as the road to WrestleMania continues to just rampage its way on. A very, very lackluster. We say this very often, aside from our Raw, which was not bad.
Our Raw was good.
Our Raw was good. I gave it a solid B. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a good show, but
with the price of admission,
it was
for Shane McMahon to be out there.
But this past Monday night, obviously, we saw, which was supposed to be the triumphant return of the dead man himself, The Undertaker. And we get a 5-minute entrance for only a 5-second speech.
You're very lucky that I was doing another radio show in the box, K Radio Sports, every Monday at 8 o'clock.
You probably didn't catch the live.
I did not catch it live, thankfully. Otherwise, I would have been blowing up your phone saying, wow, your boy just went out there and made a mockery of himself.
Well, it's not his fault. Obviously, that's booking for you.
He just went out there and did his stupid promo. And
the blood of your son will be on your hands, not mine.
Cue the music, and that was it. He grabbed Vince McMahon's throat, why did that not result in a suspension, a 60-day suspension?
I know Titus had to.
Titus has got to just be like freaking rolling around on his lazy boy at home, thinking, "What the hell?" But
because he's the dead man, you're not.
Yeah, that's what 26 years in the business is going to do for you. But no, I mean, with the Undertaker segment, very, very underwhelming. I mean, this was a key moment for WWE to really tell a story about why he was back. Number one, so many different aspects. Say why you're there, why you're fighting on behalf of Vince McMahon, if that's the case, and just what you're going to do at WrestleMania. I mean, to say one sentence is so mind-blowing to me when you got less than 5 weeks before WrestleMania to build this match, which is unquestionably the biggest match on your card now. It's overshadowing the World Heavyweight Championship match.
Yeah, because your guy that's going to be the face of the company is one of the most hated in the company.
Yes, the guy will not be the guy. The fans will boo the guy. And what I think is very interesting is another key segment we saw on Raw was the Triple H and Dean Ambrose segment, which is now locked in a match. There's going to be a WWE Network special that's going to be airing here in a couple weeks. It's going to be called Roadblock, and which is very, very rare. They've never done this before. Of course, since the network came out a couple years ago, but to have a somewhat of a pay-per-view-esque special just a few weeks before WrestleMania is kind of baffling to me.
When is that show? Is that like a week before WrestleMania? Is that like a couple weeks? Is that just like, is it this weekend?
No, that's going to be, I believe, March the 12th.
Okay. Oh, that's not too far away then.
That's literally 2 weeks before WrestleMania. And, of course, it's going to be Dean Ambrose taking on Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't see anything special happening in this show. I think this is just to kind of get the fans riled up, to get them talking. Because, of course, we all know Dean Ambrose has his feud set for WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar in a last man standing. I just don't see anything else happening to this. Of course, you're going to have your, mid-card matches. They're trying to really oversell the Roman Reigns nose injury. The whole real story about that was the whole nose thing was never caused by Triple H. He apparently sustained a nose injury a few weeks prior at a live event, and they kind of threw the whole nose surgery thing in there as an angle. He did have nose surgery, but it was very minor. It wasn't anything major. But
keep him off TV.
Keep him off TV to kind
Boston, Chicago. They're going to some tough places where Roman Reigns is going to get booed out of the building.
But I gotta really love Detroit fans because of the reaction that we saw. That WWE is so damn hell bent on trying to make Triple H the monster heel in this angle and Roman Reigns the face. What a difference of reactions you had. So what do you do if you got Roman Reigns? So you're trying to push as the company's top face. Go out there in Detroit, get his ass beat by Triple H. Triple H gets the face reaction, major face reaction. Roman Reigns gets the monster heel reaction. Nobody wants any part of Roman Reigns. Flash forward 1 week, and you have Triple H beat the hell out of the brother, Dean Ambrose, and Triple H gets a huge, huge negative reaction. It just goes to show you, fans were actually cheering Roman Reigns when they were mentioning him. So it just tells you the wide variety of towns that they go to that are more or less Roman lovers and Roman haters.
It depends, I think, on a lot of the things as well, too, is how many, and I'm not being sexist, how many females are in the crowd.
Or children.
How many children are in the crowd. You got the John Cena, Roman Reigns fans.
Right.
It's going to happen. Women and teenagers and kids are Roman Reigns and John Cena fans. Where guys like you and I are fans of Kevin Owens, fans of AJ Styles, fans of
Chris Jericho,
The Undertaker. The guys that seem to be been around the block a while that you know and you love. Or for instance, Kevin Owens, who's been in the indies for so long, you've heard of him. You couldn't wait for him to make his jump to WWE. Now that he's here, unfortunately, he's not in the title picture.
Yep.
Because you want to continue to shove down our throats Roman Reigns, and you're going to like it, and you're going to love it, because Roman Reigns is the guy that we want to be John Cena 2.0, and we're going to continue to shove
It's not going to be anywhere near
throat.
close. It's not going to be anywhere close because his sales are not even near. His sales aren't even, I don't think, beating AJ Styles. And AJ Styles is the new guy in the company, which is really sad. But speaking of Roman Reigns, he has been actually removed from all advertisements for this coming Monday's Raw in Chicago. Now, we're talking probably...
I believe WWE is back in Kalamazoo and Saginaw this weekend.
For a live event?
For live events, yep.
Okay. And he's not being advertised for those as well. So to have him not be at Monday's Raw in Chicago, which in my opinion is probably the most ruckus wrestling crowd out
CM Punk.
there.
CM Punk.
You're going to
all
hear
night
that.
long.
But yeah, Allstate Arena has definitely probably the most ruckus, crowd. And the fact that they're only here, for a couple weeks before WrestleMania is even more, interesting to know. But you're going to see Triple H. You're going to see Ambrose, Jericho, Ziggler, Sheamus, Wyatt, Owens, Big Shows, the same old guys. But to not have, your main event guy on one of the biggest Raws of the year from Chicago is kind of baffling to me. I know you're trying to sell his injury and whatnot, but it just doesn't really make sense to have him not there. 1 week away is okay, but for a simple nose injury angle...
You got to sell that injury, Derek. You got to sell it.
There's been talks about what if you were to just go complete 360 and just take Roman out of the main event at WrestleMania because he was unable to compete. How crazy would that be? And you put Dean Ambrose in his place.
No, I think you can make that a triple threat, throw Ambrose
That's
in
what
the mix.
Justin was saying.
You can throw Ambrose into the mix in a triple threat, or make it a fatal four-way and just throw
We see
Brock
it
in the mix, too.
The thing that's unfortunate is that fans certain fans, I should say, they enjoy the triple threat World Heavyweight Championship matches at WrestleMania, but it's been a while since we actually had a legit one-on-one match. Now, last year, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar was supposed to be a one-on-one until Seth Rollins cashed in. He made it a triple threat.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Awesome.
But that was WWE having to force their hand in that because they had the finish all planned out until only a few hours before the show when they had to pull that whole Seth Rollins card. He was not scheduled to win the
When
championship.
is Money in the Bank?
That's in June.
No, okay, now, in my own perspective, why don't you have Money in the Bank?
I say
before
trash the pay-per-view and have Money in the Bank at WrestleMania like it
that
was.
way you can have the storybook ending, Roman Reigns is winning, and then you can have, whoever wins the Money in the Bank cashes in.
Because it never happened before. Even when they first started out Money
I
in the Bank.
know, but it never happened before.
Yeah.
Why not do it?
That's what I was about to say is that in the 5 years that they were doing, remember Money in the Bank used to always kick off WrestleMania. It did our show in 23.
Yeah.
And those
Great
were great.
match. I think Jeff Hardy almost died that night.
Yeah, and Hornswoggle as well. But why not pull kind of a 360 and just do something totally different and have a Money in the Bank ladder match to kick off the show and then have the winner cash in that night on whoever is in the championship match. It would have been perfect.
WWE Creative, I am available. You can reach me on Twitter at dbart88.
I had read something really crazy today about, normally we never hear about what a WWE executive makes, his salary, compensation, what have you.
Well, that's interesting.
But a Twitter follower who's, he follows Dave Meltzer. He's a real big, wrestling guru. His name is Chris Harrington. He came across some very interesting WWE financial information, including how much money guys like Shane McMahon is expected to make as just a performer, an on-screen character. Because he is not taking any executive roles. But let's just look at some of these numbers. This is really crazy to think. So we'll start at the very top. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the chairman and chief executive officer. How much do you think that Vince is set? Now, this is just his salary. This is not his compensation. I'll get to his total, what he makes, but what do you think his yearly salary is from 2015?
I'd say he's close to a couple million.
$1.3 million is his salary for the year. Now, as far as non-equity incentive plan compensation and his, any other, compensation, that all totals out to about $3.3 million.
Okay, so close to a couple million.
So that's pretty much where I thought that he stood. Now, Michelle D. Wilson, who is the WWE Chief Revenue and Monitoring Officer, she made a salary of $729,000, but with her stock awards, she made actually more than Vince McMahon. She made $4.5 million.
Holy turtle shells! I want to be her.
Just being a marketing person and being in revenue and marketing, you're going to get yourself into some big bucks.
Wow.
George A. Barros, I know he's kind of like a behind-the-scenes guy. He's actually the chief strategy and financial officer. He made $725,000 salary. He made over $3 million stock awards. He made $4.494 million, so just under what Michelle Wilson made.
Wouldn't you love to be on the WWE staff? Even say, like, you and I got a call tomorrow. Hey, Derek, Dan, we want you to come set up the ring. Raw, SmackDown.
We'll pay you $25,000.
You'll get paid, this such and such amount. You're going to be all over the world.
You're going to be on the road 300 days a year.
Would you take it? Would you want to work
for what? For the salary?
For a decent. Obviously, you're going to make more than what you're making now.
I would have to probably say, in order to be on the road 300 days a year, I want at least $100,000.
I would take probably less than that.
I would only because you got to think though. 300 days out of 365 days a year, I'm not going to see my family. Maybe once or twice a year, I'm going to be busting my ass. I want $100,000. If you're paying guys like this $700,000-800,000, and then after a compensation bonus that you're paying them over $3-4 million, you better pay the ring crew a decent amount too.
Now there's other jobs that you could withhold, but that's just one that came off the top of my head. And now I would love to. I don't care. I'll carry Triple H's bags.
Yes.
I'll supervise. I'll drive the big show's bus around. It doesn't matter to me. But working for WWE would not be bad, but I think now it wouldn't pay as much as, say, like the Attitude Era when things were really, really going well for WWE. But it would still be a great career to work for WWE. So, honestly, if I had the opportunity to work for WWE, heck yeah. Absolutely so.
For 300 days a year, you think you could hack it?
I would definitely see how... Like, I could never be
I've never
performer.
I've never experienced the road like that before, but I think it would definitely be very interesting.
It would test you. That first month, you're going to be Detroit, Los Angeles, New York,
you're
all
bouncing
over
from East Coast to West Coast, and that's really the crazy part.
But the schedule, I'm sure they got to have more than one crew because they have
they
different
do.
shows.
Yeah.
Like, you might be working the Florida shows and NXT.
You got to be thinking, too, is that Raw ends at 11 o'clock. Those guys are still taking the ring down well after midnight. They probably don't even leave the arena till about 2 in the morning. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to figure they're getting like maybe 2 to 3 hours of sleep a day at night anyways. I mean, yeah, there's no way that they probably pack up and they go to Raw from Raw to SmackDown the following day, especially if it's not in the same state.
But I guarantee you that they have a Raw crew and a SmackDown crew.
They do.
Because I guarantee you probably have some time. Your Raw crew probably goes to, you probably have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off.
Yeah.
And then you got a house show on Friday. And then Saturday you might have one.
Yeah.
And then you go back Monday to Raw. So honestly, does that sound all that bad?
Not too bad.
Like, honestly,
it sounds all right on paper, but obviously I think that once you experience it, I
bet you have 2 days a week. I bet you have Monday and probably either Friday or Saturday. And then SmackDown has their own crew for Tuesday and either Friday or Saturday. So you probably have 2 crews. One works SmackDown, one works Raw. And you're probably working 2 days a week. Mm-hmm. But you're all over
The world.
The United States, the world.
Yeah, the European trips have got to be really, really crazy.
So honestly, I'm sure it's a lot more than what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
but
there's definitely more to it.
Honestly, it doesn't sound like a bad little career natch.
No.
I'd give it a shot. Like, I don't even know where you'd apply for a WWE job, and I'm not qualified, and maybe you're not either. But
writers, we could always be, look at freaking Mick Foley's son. He's 20 years old. He's a freaking writer for WWE. I mean, it does help to have that leeway and that name in the company. Give you a little
that
bit
Foley
of a boost.
name.
Yeah, that Foley name is definitely going to help you out.
If my last name was Flair, I'd already be in WWE.
Yeah, or Johnson, or McMahon for that matter. Mm-hmm. The last two guys I want to touch on with the whole financial thing. So, of course, some two names that we are very familiar with. Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H, EVP of Talent Relations, Live Events, and Creative. He made just a hair over $500,000 salary, but, of course, with his stock awards, his non-equity incentive compensation, he made $3 million, $3.1 million last year.
Yeah, and he's a talent, too.
Now, the most baffling on this list, and if you're a true wrestling fan, you probably know who this name is. He's been in the company for many years. Executive producer Kevin Dunn. Mm-hmm. A lot of people hate on this guy. A lot of people say he's a real piece of shit. A lot of people say that he's not, qualified for especially this amount of money. His salary is more than Triple H, more than George Barros, more than Michelle Wilson, $860,000 a year. With all of his incentives and stock awards, $4.7 million. More than anybody on this list. He's making more than Vince McMahon a year. He's making more than Michelle Wilson, George Barros, and Paul Levesque. That is insane. Whew. For an executive producer who's been with the company since like 1996. He's been in the company a long time.
He's got the tenure.
But to be making that much as an executive producer, now you figure he's on both. He's just like Vince and Triple H. He's on Raw and SmackDown. Does a lot of traveling. But to be a producer, to be making almost $5 million, that's
Life's
crazy.
Good. Life's good.
Yep. Now, the whole gist of this article was actually to see how much that Shane McMahon would be making as an in-ring performer. Just as an in-ring performer, $120,000.
Okay.
I mean, we know that Vince, that's chunk change
for one
to
match
him.
to get beat up by The Undertaker? I'd do it.
And you got to figure he's worth about $20 million. So, I mean, this is chunk change for him. So, this is just a little added bonus for him, and a little incentive. But I just thought that was a really interesting article. You never really see the behind-the-scenes finances of WWE.
You don't know how much.
I know that WWE did an angle back in the 90s when Stone Cold was CEO and he was going through the books and seeing how much everybody was making. And you never really hear that. That's very private. I mean, I always thought that Triple H was making somewhere in the upper, the low 1 to 2 millions. But
no, who I would want to know is the talents. I want to know how much, say, John Cena.
I think that's been
when The Rock appears. I want to know how much, like a guy in NXT, like Finn Balor makes.
Your average talent, guys that have been in the company, like I think the guy that makes you the most money talent-wise is probably between The Undertaker and John Cena.
Merchandise alone, it's got to be Cena.
I'm not just going. Well, merchandise is a whole other story, but I would say that they probably make a couple million. If you got executives that are only making about $800,000-$900,000, you got to figure that your average wrestler probably makes about $200,000 to $300,000 a year. We're talking like mid to upper talent, but guys like John Cena, Undertaker, Chris Jericho. I mean, but these are also guys that have part-time deals. But if you want to go like long-term guys like that are full-time with the company, John Cena definitely takes the cake. He's probably making about $2 to $3 million a year.
Got to be.
And then you got Taker, who's even at part-time, he's probably still making over $1 million a year. So
match a year, Taker.
Yeah, 1 to 2 matches. Brock Lesnar, we know he's making some money. I think he's probably making in the $3 to $4 million range. So to be able to wrestle
he doesn't wrestle a lot either.
5 to 7 matches a year and make $5 million, shit, I'll take it.
Oh yeah, throw some people around.
So that's our wrestling for the night. Of course, we get closer and closer. We're down to just next week will be 4 weeks until the big WrestleMania pay-per-view.
31 days or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 31 now. Yeah, it was 34. So yeah, we'll stay tuned for that. And to conclude tonight, we wanted to touch on a little bit of entertainment talk as far as we all know that Deadpool has been out now for just a little under a month. And very shortly, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be seeing the big release of Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. As far as that's concerned, what do you think as far as who takes the cake financially? What is going to be more successful, Deadpool or Batman vs. Superman?
It's going to be really tight. And I think Deadpool blew everything out of the water.
Financially, I think a lot of people thought it was a little. I don't think people thought it was going to do as well as it did.
No, the box office was just enormous what they did and how they pulled that off. And now it's revamping all the superhero movies.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy is going to change. all these movies are now going to become R-rated because of the success of Deadpool.
Deadpool on a $58 million budget has grossed well over $620 million worldwide. That's crazy.
Batman vs. Superman, a lot of it was filmed here in Detroit, so I
was there.
I'm going to support the heck out of it, and I'm a huge Batman guy. Batman is most definitely...
I'm definitely seeing it for the Batman aspect. Even though it is set, as far as Superman's storyline, it's set in his world. Batman kind of plays a second fiddle to Superman in this movie, and they do face off against each other, which I've not been a big fan of. But
there's twists and turns that are going to happen.
I'm definitely more. I've been amped up about this movie since they started filming 2 years ago. I think that this is going to be. I think it's going to gross more than that. I mean, Deadpool. It had the potential for a while to hit close to $1 billion. I mean, it's probably going to do well over $700 million, but I can definitely see Batman vs. Superman going to $1 billion. I think that that's going to out box office, if you will, outbox Deadpool.
Nice
yeah,
cliche.
nice little cliche. Cure the crickets there. But no, I think that it's definitely going to be more of a financial success. As far as being an overall movie, the actual reception
I think a lot
of the
of
movie,
people are not going to like it.
I think it's going to get a little bit more negative reactions than Deadpool. I think it's going to be more of like just the story, the overall story.
People already are knocking it before they see it because of Affleck.
Yep.
And that's
gotta
the thing
give it a chance. I can't be that person.
Listen,
to do
I'm
that.
not going to do that. I'm not going to bash a movie because of Ben Affleck being. Yes, he ruined Daredevil. I get it. But if you want to check out Daredevil, go check it out on Netflix.
The real Daredevil.
It'll completely change your perspective on Deadpool. But Ben Affleck as Batman, okay, I get it. I wanted Christian Bale as well. I like Christian Bale as Batman. Unfortunately, you got to live with Ben Affleck playing Batman. Henry Cavill, good Superman. It's not going to ruin it.
No.
As a whole, I think it's going to be a decent movie. I don't think it's going to be like great or anything. My expectations are extremely low, so that might be.
You want that though. You don't want it very high.
I want to be surprised.
Yes.
I know Wonder Woman's going to make an appearance.
Yeah.
So I know I like who they got to play Wonder Woman. I like the whole. There's a lot of things that are to be told, a lot of things that could happen. I'm excited, and I think that the movie is going to do a lot better than what people think, and I think people will be pleasantly surprised when they leave that movie theater. Will it do as good as Deadpool? I think it will. I think it will outgrow Deadpool. I think it will be better than Deadpool. But overall, people will still like Deadpool better because Deadpool was just off the wall, unique.
It had everything.
It was
that's the
different.
only way you can say it. Is the only way to describe Deadpool is it had a little bit of everything in it. Obviously, we've both seen it. We're not going to give away any spoilers, but we did mention this, I think, after I went and saw it after you, is that it just had a touch of everything in it. Comedy, action, seriousness, just a lot of different emotions that go through Deadpool, and it's definitely a movie I highly recommend. I give it 4 stars, totally off the charts.
10 out of 10 for me. There's not a scene that I didn't enjoy.
Not really any kind of low points of the movie. Nothing that was really too lackluster. It had action-packed everything. So, but as far as Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, that will be released March 25th, 2016. So we got a couple more weeks for that.
Midnight premiere in that.
It's possible. We'll see what's going on. It depends on, obviously they have premieres now that are happening at like
6, 7 o'clock. You might as well just go then.
I might do that, yeah, because I know when we went and saw Star Wars, we saw that the day after, and we saw that at like 5 o'clock, and it wasn't too busy. So see if we can get the gang together and go see Batman vs. Superman, but that's definitely a movie that you got to go see.
I don't want to pay $10 to see that crap. That's what you're going to see a lot of.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff. Yeah. But, so that's that, and on that point, I don't think we got really much more to cover. I think that we've done about everything we got. You can crumple up the paper. We'll do a little bit of cheers. Hey, look at that. I still got a little bit more water left. What do you know? So until next week, this has been episode 3 of D&D Sports Chat.
2 points.
2 points for that. And we will see you guys next week. Take care.
Toodles.